Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 14th of February 2024, Valentine's Day. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 fell 0.7% today to close at 7,548 points. It followed a big drop on Wall Street after surprisingly strong inflation figures in the world's largest economy. Locally, there were a stack of profit earnings out today. Commonwealth Bank was the biggest, announcing a 3% drop in cash profit on lower margins from intense competition in the mortgage and deposit markets. Its share price fell nearly 2%. GrainCorp's share price fell 12% after it said profits would tumble on the back of lower grain production across Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria. The chair and CEO of building materials group Fletcher Building, that's 2 different people, they'll both exit the company, and the group wants to sell its underperforming TradeLink business in Australia. Now, Fletcher Link trades on both the New Zealand and Australian exchanges. It announced a half-year loss today, and its share price was down nearly 9%. Contracted downer EDI lifted its net profit for the 6 months to December, sending its share price up 12%, the best of the top 200, while AMP's share price jumped 10% after the group said it would return more money to shareholders through either dividends or share buybacks. A very busy day on the earnings calendar. Story number 2, higher than expected inflation figures in the US. I mentioned them a moment ago. Well, they've pushed back the date of any interest rate cuts in the world's biggest economy. The annual US Consumer Price Index fell to 3.1% in January from 3.4%. But analysts expected it to be 2.9%. Certainly it isn't a bad number, although the underlying figures suggest inflation might be picking up a touch. The figure gave pause to debate about rate cuts, and that sent the benchmark S&P 500 down 1.4% and bond yields rose. Consensus is now that the first rate cut in the US won't be until the middle of the year. Story number 3, about 220,000 homes and businesses in Victoria are still without power, a day after wild storms brought down transmission lines and damaged power poles, triggering a shutdown of huge Loy Yang A power station. Emergency crews are battling challenging conditions to clean up damage and restore services after the storms late yesterday. Premier Jacinta Allen said that 1 person was killed and at least 5 others were injured in the storms. The Australian Energy Market Operator said the number of properties without electricity was down from a peak of about 530,000 yesterday, but warned it would take time to repair damaged power lines and poles. AGL worked to restart its Loy Yang A power station in the Latrobe Valley after the generator tripped or automatically shut down amid the sudden loss of customer load when transmission lines came down. The power stations should be fully back online tomorrow. Story number 4, Chief of the Defence Force Angus Campbell has acknowledged Defence is falling a long way short of meeting recruitment and retention targets, but says steps are being taken to boost the number of personnel. He told a Senate inquiry that Defence was 4,308 personnel below its authorised strength, and low unemployment rates often correlated to low recruitment rates. Meanwhile, Defence Department Secretary Greg Moriarty admitted his department needs to continue making strides to achieve excellence following criticism from Defence Minister Richard Marles. And finally, story number 5, Indonesians went to the polls today to choose a new president for the world's 3rd largest democracy. Defence Minister Prabowo Subianto is the frontrunner over 2 former governors to succeed the still popular Joko Widodo. Indonesia is on the verge of becoming a serious player in the global resource supply chain. Local nickel miners know it, with nickel prices slumping on the back of a flood of product from our northern neighbour. Mr. Prabowo says he will continue the policies that encourage Chinese investment in Indonesian mining, and that has implications for Australian miners. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 14th of February, 2024. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Thursday edition of Fear and Greed Business News. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.